بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The first verse I'm going to recite is chapter 21, verse 73. وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ فِعْلَ الْخَيْرَاتِ وَإِقَامَ الصَّلَاةِ وَإِيتَاءَ الزَّكَاةِ وَكَانُوا لَنَا عَابِدِينَ. And we made them leaders who guided people by our command, and we revealed to them the doing of good and keeping up of prayer and the giving of alms, and us alone they served. The next verse I want to recite is chapter 49, verse 13. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min zakarin wa untha وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O mankind, surely we have created you from a male and a female and made you tribes and families that you may know each other. Surely the noblest of you with Allah is the most dutiful of you. Surely Allah is knowing and aware. And in relation to this, I also want to recite a hadith. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said, each of you is a shepherd and each of you is responsible for his flock. The ruler who rules over the people is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. A man is a shepherd in charge of the inhabitants of his household, and he is responsible for his flock. A woman is a shepherdess in charge of her husband's house and children, and she is responsible for them. And a man's slave is a shepherd in charge of his master's property, and he is responsible for it. So each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is responsible for his flock. This week we are celebrating 70 years of Queen Elizabeth's reign. And the Lahore Ahmadiyya community in the UK congratulates Her Majesty on this record-breaking achievement. In some countries, there is a joke, and it goes like this. People ask, eventually, how many kings will remain in the world? And the answer is 5. And which 5 are they? And people say, well, 4 kings in a pack of cards, and the King of England. So generally overseas, it's considered that monarchy in England is long-lasting. And there are reasons for that. And that is that a leader's duty is to act in accordance with the law and treat all the people in his or her realm equally. And the leader is responsible for what happens to all the people and any of the people. Hazrat Umar Radiyallahu Ta'ala, he said that if a dog dies of thirst on the shores of Euphrates, Allah will hold me responsible and ask me to account for the dog's death. This is how seriously a leader should take their duties. Unfortunately, many times we don't see that. Once people get into a position of leadership, they think the law doesn't apply to them. Indeed, even to their families. But our Queen has done her duty according to the laws of this land, even under the most difficult circumstances. She might even have disagreed with the law. Some of the laws that she acted in accordance with, is that a correct sentence? I don't think so. But some of the laws that she was forced to act by, we disagree even today with those laws. But because it was the law of the land, obey she did. And sometimes it seemed to me that she was following the dictates of the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad. A girl was caught stealing, and she was the daughter of a nobleman. And people were trying to find excuses so that she would escape punishment. And the Holy Prophet heard of this, and he said, "By Allah, if my daughter Fatima had done this, I would have given her the same punishment." At another time, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said that earlier nations were destroyed. Why? Because the law was only applied to the poor and never to the rich. So eventually those societies, those systems, they collapsed. And the Queen followed this example, that the law applies to everyone. Her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, passed away during the COVID pandemic. And at that time, the law said that there should be social distancing. People should stand 2 meters away from each other. And at the time of his funeral, it was both amazing and sad to see the Queen sitting alone. That was the most difficult time. They had been husband and wife for a long time, over 50 years. And she needed company. Perhaps she needed to hold her children's hands or to hug them. But the law said, because of the COVID pandemic, social distancing must be observed, and observe it she did. It is this kind of behavior that when you see it on television and in the newspapers and so on, that engenders respect for the law and for the leaders of the country. And you get the feeling that they don't think they're high and mighty. They're above the law, they're above everyone else. Everyone else has to observe social distancing and not go to funerals and what have you. But I'm one of the leaders. I'm a member of parliament or a minister or a prime minister. The law doesn't apply to me. If you behave in that way, then people disrespect the law and they disrespect you. And it was really, as far as I was concerned, an amazing scene to see her sitting there at her husband's funeral all alone, simply because that was what the law said. And there is another example that I want to mention. The first example was doing your duty and obeying the law. But another thing that struck me was how she treated all the people of this country as equal. After 9/11, Muslims living in the West lived in great fear, particularly in the US and so on. And in fact, the whole of West, England, Germany, whatever. So many thousands had died in a terrorist attack. And all Muslims are held responsible for that. You and me, when we went out into the street, were afraid that we might be attacked and injured and so on. And somehow, the palace realized this. And within weeks, a visit was arranged to a mosque. Her Majesty went to the mosque. She removed her shoes. She covered her head and observed all the proprieties. And it was shown on television and it was in the newspapers and so on that the Queen was talking to the Imam and other people of the community, Muslim community, kindly and gently and nicely. And suddenly, Muslims were not afraid anymore. They got the feeling that there is someone who will protect them. They felt that they had a mother who will protect them come what may, in the same way that a physical mother would have done. So I say to you, Your Majesty, thank you for thinking of us and our feelings at that terrible time when this community lived in such fear and people were attacked for no fault. And some of those attacked weren't even Muslims. So thank you for thinking of us and our feelings at that time. Congratulations for completing 70 years on the throne. May Allah give you long life and health and protect you and your family from harm. Ameen. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barraufur rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم، واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Ready? Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, qad qamatis salah, qad qamatis salah. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Idza jaa nasrullahi wal fath wa ra'aitan nasa yadkhuluna dinillahi afwaja fasabbih bihamdi rabbika wastaghfirhu innahu kana tawwaba. Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. هذه الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أستغفر الله. أستغفر الله. اللهم إنك سلام. Thank you very much for joining us for our Friday service. I hope you found it useful. Tomorrow we have a broadcast on a WhatsApp group called Pure Discussions at 1 p.m. UK time. So if you can log on to that, you'll be able to hear the broadcast. And until we meet again, perhaps on Monday, I pray that Allah keeps all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.